and welcome back to Fantasy Turf War, the coolest fantasy football league on the planet. And as temps across the country are starting to dip during this part of the year, the football season continues to heat up. This is season 2, episode 24, overall our 100th episode, and we are streaming live on many platforms at this very moment. If you're listening live, or even if you pick up our show later in the week, subscribe, like, or share our show or channel. This will help us grow, and it'll also help you grow too. The more listeners we have, the more people we can help. But episode 100, what an incredible milestone to reach. We appreciate you listening in and contributing to our conversations. And when I say we, I'm also talking about my awesome co-hosts. So let me bring them in. We're talking about Susan, the Gridiron Goddess, and Adam from Fantasy Couriers. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Susan, the Gridiron Goddess. Find me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm super happy to be here on this Veterans Day.
Yeah, I'm Adam. If you listen to Fantasy Couriers, I'm DJ Dove. Our website there, fantasycouriers.com. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We post shows every Sunday evening.
And I'm representing Shelter Dogs for Veterans, and we are talking about veterans on this show, being that it is Veterans Day. The organization I was introduced to, Shelter Dogs for Veterans, was by Corey, a veteran himself. Shelter Dogs does exactly what the name implies. It connects dogs who were in shelters, who get trained to be service dogs for those who served in the military. Corey's been the benefactor of having received a couple of dogs through the organization. He approached me before season 1 of Fantasy Turf War to see if I would consider handling the fantasy football piece on behalf of Shelter Dogs for Veterans, and I couldn't have been more humbled about it to have been asked. So, but on this Veterans Day, do either of you guys have a story or something you'd like to share regarding Veterans Day?
My dad is an Army vet, so I always tell Dad, thanks for your service. I actually got to see him today.
Cool.
So that was great. And my grandfather was a colonel in the Air Force during World War II.
Oh,
so wow. There's been several generations, two at least generations of military veterans in my family. But so yeah, just there's awesome family ties there.
We appreciate their service.
That's awesome.
It's hard to describe in words unless you've been a part of military families. But Adam, how about you?
Yeah, my family immediate has zero military. My dad wanted to do military, but as a kid, he got shot in the eye with a BB gun, and he wasn't eligible. Like, he would have been like the tail end of Vietnam. So
yeah.
I wouldn't be here, I guess. But so he wasn't eligible, or else I would have been a military kid. But I'm constantly surrounded by military. JJ Wang, my partner for Fantasy Couriers, is an Army vet. My father-in-law, Clancy, is Navy. I'm gonna get all these wrong. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget it. My brother-in-law, Skylar, is Army as well. And then a bunch of my really good buddies through Men's Alliance, which is the group the men's ministry that I represent. Not very well right now in Fantasy Turf Wars, but I represent them in spirit, not in fantasy football. But my buddy Adam Ashman, Mike Rhodes, Dave Mills, Jeremiah Johnson, Blaine McLeod, and Rick Wells and Marquise Lance. Two of those guys aren't in Men's Alliance, so through my fantasy leagues, but there's guys and many more that I know I'm forgetting. So all of you guys that I forgot and all you guys there, just thanks for your service. It's good. I feel safe. I'm surrounded by all those guys. Those are my friends.
That's fantastic. That's a pretty massive list. My list is not so large. My dad, he was in the Navy, and he passed away just over 4 years ago. But he always had stories to tell, and sometimes in his latter years, it would be the same exact story, but we still liked listening to it. He would also tell us that he left high school middle of the year to join the Navy. So he even missed out on his high school graduation. My son, Corey, he went into the Air Force, and I had no idea that was even coming because I was not Air Force. I was not military at all. I was kind of against it, but only for myself. I would never say, "Oh, don't do it," because Corey obviously had a good run at it as well. So much appreciation there. And then my youngest one, Cam Jr., he ended up going Air Force as well. So he is currently stationed in South Korea. So huge appreciation to Corey and Cam, both going Air Force, both being part of the military community. And, you know, I can never say enough. And usually any of those special days for military, whether it's Memorial Day or Veterans Day, I do try to reach out to them, because even though there are distinct differences in those days, it still gives me pause to remember why we're here and what causes they had served. And so huge appreciation to anybody who is connected to the military families, or those who have long gone. So, all right, well done, everyone. Thanks for sharing those things with us. But as a normal part of the show, in the intro, I try to share something about Commish Corey, and of course, he's off braving the cold and the elements of Antarctica. Trust me, it is colder where Corey is at than Justin Fields' epic letdown as a quarterback this season.
Is it
But
though?
a close
I don't
second
know.
place. So, Corey, I
Yikes.
hope you're doing well. Hustle back to the community here. Be connected once again when you get a chance to. But let's get back to the FFL swing of things. So let me ask, how did you guys fare the weekend? Any highlights, any bad beats, or other news or events for the weekend you wanted to share with the group?
You got me excited. I wanted to share this fun little stat. Let's see. That Breece Hall had a 42-yard reception for the Jets. Justin Fields threw for 54 yards. So Justin Fields, and he really threw 2 yards to Breece Hall. So it's just a fun weekend stat, like how terrible Justin Fields is, thinking that I might have been able to throw more yards than Justin Fields in the NFL, which 12 yards. I think the punter could do that. But anyway, all jokes aside, I had a bounce back week. It's been kind of a rough, October. I'm glad October's over. November feels a little better. I mean, I guess we had last week too. So October and last week, they've been kind of ho-humish. I had a team with Jonathan Taylor and Achane on it.
Wow.
And Drake London on it. And it just went bonkers. So that was one of the better weeks I've had in a while. My even some of my cruddy teams aren't doing well. Well, except for Turf War, I'm just toast. But we're making playoff pushes, trying to figure out trading. Trading is the way of the dodo, it seems, a lot. And I think it's harder in redraft. I'm trying to get some stuff going in Dynasty, but it's been a quiet trade year. I've done a couple things in some other leagues, like I got Breece in a league, and that paid off. But yeah, that's where we are. Susan, what you got?
This was a bad week. This was a bad weekend for me. I did win in 3 leagues, I think, but I am fighting for playoff spots for the most part. I'm sticking at either 5, 6, and 7. Just like I'm right there in the hunt as we go along. Trying to make some trades. There was drama in a league this weekend. And my biggest thing that for me is a takeaway is just we need to remember that this is a game and it's supposed to be fun. This drama this weekend, I was just yo, this is a game. And a lot of people, you play for money, right? You'll $10, $20 buy-ins. A lot of people play for free. But it was just, come on, man. We're here to play a game. We're here to have fun. It's not that serious. So I think that's just my big takeaway from the weekend is try to remember, this is a game. We're here to have fun. We're here to play, but don't take it so seriously.
So you're saying this is not the epitome of life, is what I think I'm hearing here. Wow, I got it wrong all this time. Are you kidding me? No, you're right. It is a game that sometimes we do take seriously, or too serious to say, so what if you're injured? Get back out there. I need points, or the drama that takes place between people, or how something wasn't fair or whatever. And it's
collusion.
Or collusion. Yes. I remember way back in the early days where somebody traded a quarterback for a case of beer. Really, guys? Where's the honor in this one? So
I think the case of beer might have won if you had Justin Fields.
And then sometimes it's a matter of, yeah, right, exactly. Sometimes it's a matter of, gee, I can't even watch football this weekend. Maybe I've got something going on. So it's sometimes getting away or stepping away from, and just getting away from the mayhem every week, sometimes is a nice reset on occasions. But this past weekend, I coached 2 of my grandson's baseball games, and I tell you, I've been coaching a number of different types of sports for the last 35 years, and I felt walking into the last weekend that this was going to be my last, unless there's good reason to come back to coach. And it was nostalgic, memorable, emotional at some points, and even being able to, because it's one of the two boys, it's coach pitch baseball. Unless you don't hit it from the coach's pitch, then you get hit off the tee. And I just kind of knew going into that last inning, and he was the last batter of the last inning, all he was going to need was going to be one pitch, and he hit off of it as well. So it was really a profound moment, just kind of taking it all in, and just kind of like you said, sometimes, Susan, it's like sometimes you got to put things in perspective of what is truly important, what's truly meaningful. And yes, there's a lot of football games going on that I'm also trying to vie to get into the playoff spot, but taking stock of life and what's going on in the real world sometimes is important to do as well. So, okay, but we have touched on a few things here, and part of it is the fact that we are trying to hunt down those elusive playoff spots at this point in time. So do you guys find yourself at this point in the season start trying to focus more on the teams you feel you got that chance at the playoffs? And Adam, I know you said before many times in this show that you're going to play your best roster every week, even if you're in that spoiler role. But don't you still give just a little bit more attention to the teams right now that you think with a few weeks left, I've got that shot in the regular season to get there?
Oh, I do. I stress the waiver more on that side. If I forget to do a waiver, like I'm doing most of my teams except for like one or two should hit the playoffs. So that's the silver lining here. One's only going to make the playoffs, I hope, if all works out, because it's 8 out of 12 teams make the playoffs, and I'm 9 right now. This team is plagued by underperformance and injuries. Bucky Irving is still, I still love the guy, but man, he's killing me this year. But it comes down to, like, I will put my best in Dynasty. You don't want to. Like, I've known guys that'll put in garbage, and that's been one of our biggest arguments in some leagues is, hey, I'm trying to get a draft pick at that. But I was like, dude, I don't like that. I had a team that was terrible, and I would just put in my best guys, and I would just be like, stink, don't do good. Please don't.
But you at least put in your best lineup.
That team now is pretty good. I mean, so it's some teams you're going to put in your best lineup knowing you're going to lose. Some teams you're going to be like, wow, I had a couple this week. I was like, how did I win that game? Because this team is plagued with injuries. I do have to give kudos. This is where I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. But our girl Sharon always listens, and she played me in the Fantasy Couriers charity league, and she didn't just beat me. I would have to play a couple more weeks to score as many points as she did. It's the scoring's a little wonky, but I put like lots of multipliers. She scored 300.95 points with, studs like May and Gibbs and Henderson and Marks and Adunze and Tez. And I put up 128 points. 128. So if I doubled my score, she still won. If I doubled my score, I'd still have to play probably half of another week. That is how badly I was obliterated.
Good job, Sharon. Good for you.
Well done,
That's what
Sharon.
happens when you have the Gridiron Goddess and the Fantasy Couriers in your corner. You get to beat the snot out of the Fantasy Couriers. Has she beaten you yet?
Adam, I'd have to say well done too, though. And it's not because you got crushed. It's that you are taking it in the right vein. You're still able to laugh about it. You're still able to joke about it, make light of it, because you are putting it in the right perspective. So kudos to you on that as well, though. What about you, Susan? As we're getting towards the last few weeks, do you find yourself spending more time on just who you think are going to be the real winners there?
Yeah, I think Adam hit the nail on the head when he said he focuses more on waivers for the leagues that he knows that he's going to that he's contending to make the playoffs in. Yeah. That's where, for me, the time gets spent is I'm really looking who's on the waivers, who can I pick up. I think more about how I'm going to bid if I'm in a fab league on those. Those are the things. But I do want to say, and Adam has mentioned this before, that he plays spoiler. If you know that you're going to be out, play spoiler. Go
Ruin their lives.
go get that best guy on the waiver wire to keep other people from getting him. Like, if you're going to be down, bring somebody with you. I don't know. That's part of the fun, right? So I think that's going to be part of the thing too. Talking about that dynasty league where you're like, set your best lineup, don't do good. One thing that I know for me, we've made sure in dynasty leagues that I am in is that the rookie drafts are not just based on points for, they're based on max points for, meaning it includes your bench. So there's one league where you may be in 10th place by the time the playoffs end, but if you have the fewest points in the max points, that really means your team was the worst because you scored the fewest number of points bench to starters as the whole season went on. So that person gets the 101 in the rookie draft. So just something to consider. A lot of leagues do that, some don't. Some go purely based off playoff results. But there's a little something for people to think about. If you're a new dynasty league, this is your first season, and you're trying to figure out rookie draft order.
Mechanics,
for you guys.
I'm off of playing a lot, so we always have dumpster bowls in any league that I manage. Just because my goal is not, I like to win, but I don't win a lot. Nobody, only one person per league can win, but I want to keep playing. So if you're in a league where it's just like stop week 14 last week, okay, you're done for December. You guys nothing to do. But if we create dumpster bowls where like the worst teams get some buys, all that kind of stuff, and then there's like a prize or a value in the dumpster bowl, toilet bowl, whatever you call it. Then it makes it more fun because as Susan said, it's a game, and that's why I do it, is to play the game and to have the fun. So especially, by that point, the Dolphins, I'll talk about a second, they'll have some hope again, and then it'll just get spoiled. So that's
it's like dangling the carrot in front of you and then just taking it right out,
Yeah.
I definitely like the dynasty leagues, any type of keeper type of leagues as well. But the leagues that I'm in, it's all pretty much how did you finish in regular season, and then you reverse the order for next year's draft pick, unless you're a complete redraft. But then when it comes to the 4 teams who make the playoffs in our leagues, then the 7, 8, 9, 10 picks are inverse of how you finished in the playoffs. So you can be the best team in the league in the regular season, but if you get rudely tossed out in the first week of the playoffs, well, it's nice seeing you. Corey can attest to that. I'm usually the giant killer whenever Corey's been the dominant number 1 team heading into the playoffs, and I just rudely tossed them out year after year. It was not pretty. He was not happy about it, but that was my job. And but I agree with
fear I have right now. I have a team that has like 200 more points than everybody else. So I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to lose in the first week. It's over. Like I already know it's going to happen, and I'm going to be devastated.
Yeah, and right now it's just like everybody I think is just seeing how far away am I away from getting into the playoffs, or what can I do to hang on to it, and I know probably more of my attention is going to be going to the teams that I think have got the best shot at it. But right now, all the teams that I've got right now, they all have a legitimate shot to make it, which is not easy to say. But I've only got 4 teams. You guys are juggling umpteen million teams on your shoulders, and I'm not willing to do that myself. But again, it's all fun, and the regular season has been going so quickly here, but let's take a look at last week's biggest stories. So pick a headline. What did you find was interesting or fascinating or horrible or whatever? So take it, Susan. What do you think? Give us the headline.
For me, it's the 3 teams that are left that are 8-win teams. Colts, Broncos, Patriots. There was a lot of hype around the Broncos coming into this season, but what's funny is, to me, they're the team that deserves it the least. Their wins have not been clean, they've not been pretty, but they are getting the win, right? But Colts and Patriots, I know there was some hype for the Patriots coming into the season, but it was not that they were going to be an 8-win team. They have looked great. Drake May is doing so well. And then, I mean, and we talked about the Colts a couple episodes ago, our mid-season MVPs. They are just riding high. They're doing so well, and I'm surprised by the 3 teams that are left that are the 8-win teams. So it's been really fun to see, and I don't know, maybe I need to go put some money on a end of the year somewhere, because I don't know, that's crazy.
I love that headline for the weekend. Yeah, there's definitely several exclamation marks behind each of those 3 teams that now have 8 wins and some really incredible stories. I'm really curious to see how deep any of these 3 teams will go in the playoffs. Time is going to be the right storyteller of that one, I think. Adam, headlines. What's your headline news for us?
I forgot my buddy Corey. Thank you for your service. Was asking, going upon your Patriots. He's a Patriots fan, and we were talking about MVP. Is Drake May the MVP of the NFL?
Ooh. Interesting.
I don't think they're going to give it to him because he's too young. I think they're going to make him. I feel like this is what?
I'm on the Stafford train. I think
Stafford.
If he scored, I mean, 3-4 touchdown weeks.
I think they're just going to make Drake May prove it before he earns that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he looks amazing, but they're not going to.
You know, despite his age, though, if people are starting to think of people in those circles or in that conversation, never a bad thing. You know, it can only go upwards from there. But I think probably too soon for us to put Drake May in that conversation. But he's been doing it with a lot of no names and under the radar. But they are putting together some interesting quality wins lately too. So yeah, fascinating.
I'm gonna let Sharon do this segment. Dolphins. It's been a hard year. A lady who works in the front office at my school is a big Bills fan. So I went and she's like, I knew you'd come see me. You don't come to see me as much. I said, hey, it hasn't happened since 2022. The game was absolutely abysmal. Thank goodness Josh Allen still got some stats for me, or else that would have been terrible. It was basically Josh Allen and
garbage time.
So that was pretty much it. That got it, but it was garbage time. Garbage time points are garbage time points.
They still count.
The and I texted, I texted people that were texting me, and I was like, yeah, basically it's like the guys put on the wrong uniforms because the Bills were just making stupid bonehead mistakes that cost them here, it cost them there, and the Dolphins weren't, and that's why they were winning, because maybe they're not as terrible as we think. And the worst thing of all is they're going to give me hope because they play the Commanders, the Saints, the Jets, the Bengals, all 4 out of the next 5 weeks. And the Steelers are in there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he'll probably be getting AARP by that point. So they might be toast too. Who knows? I mean, luckily it'll wait till after Christmas, because after Christmas they play the Buccaneers and the Patriots. So they'll get pummeled and welcome back to earth like last year. But there's going to be hope in November and December, just like with my fantasy teams for my Dolphins. But they looked better, and they beat the Bills. I mean, that's just that thing. It's kind of like, when your all's Cowboys beat that team in Washington or that team in Philadelphia, it feels good. So of all the things, like, I just had to say that one. But the thing that I'm still mad about, and thank you, Susan, I love the video you posted, is the YouTube and Disney. Like, it's those two rich people need to just stop it. Disney's losing $4 million a year. Apparently, YouTube is trying to lowball them lower than anybody else. Disney's going to want 4 times as much. Guys, this is not hard. Big number, little number, set in the middle. Boom. You know that I'm going to be the one getting the shaft on all this anyway, and paying more for cable than I should. But luckily, because I'm a podcaster, my Sunday ticket is now tax deductible. That's the way I look at it.
Nice. Yeah, we're supposed to have the NFL Sunday ticket, but we've had some connectivity issues on our side, getting the plan connected to our systems. And so I've been not able to see the Monday night games last couple of weeks. And so I'm also not happy about that as well, because I can't pick it up anywhere else. It's like I was telling my wife last night, hey, it's a good time to go out to B-dubs and go watch a football game, because it's probably the only way I was going to be able to see it,
Fubo
But,
7-day subscription is what I got, and then I
yeah,
canceled it.
there you go. I thought
I'm
about
gonna
the
run
same
out of
thing
these pretty
too.
soon. But the game was terrible. I wish I
Yeah.
hadn't got it. So your
You
turn.
know,
Yeah, I
it's
hope you didn't use up a free trial to watch
I did.
Monday's
to watch
game.
that
I
game of all
did.
games, right?
It was terrible.
But
Thanks for wasting
You
that
know,
night.
it's funny how you're talking about how your Dolphins are kind of teasing you a little bit, and then you're just going to yank the rug underneath you. We were talking just a few short weeks ago how we thought maybe the Dolphins were the very worst team in the league, and now they're positioning themselves to get screwed out of a good draft pick.
Yep.
So,
Pick 14,
but
guaranteed.
my headline news is the 2 wins. Just 2 wins for the Raiders, the Giants, Jets, Browns, and Saints. And right now, it's anybody's guess who's going to get that number 1 draft pick. It's almost at this point, with that many teams having that poor of a record, you almost have to try to get that first draft pick. You have to also pretty much have to try to lose, And I'm thinking to myself, similar to what we were talking about Justin Fields, if there's a team that's looking to try to lose every game left on the schedule, it feels like it's them. But then they end up beating Cleveland of all teams. And it's like, guys, get it together. Either you're going to tank it or you're going to try. One of the two. Don't put it right in the middle for us, guys. That's not going to help. But I'd still say out of this group, the Raiders, Giants, Jets, Browns, Saints, if Jets don't pull away, if they don't pull away that number 1 draft pick, maybe followed up by a close second with the Giants, I'd be surprised. But the Giants, they've got their own problems. They've found a way to lose again with a big lead, and it cost the head coach's job this time. Not surprised there, but I'd also have to say that the Giants made a couple teams in that run look a lot better than what they think they are. So more to come there. Ugh. But let's get a word from our sponsor. Yes. Take it away, Susan.
All right, let's take a quick time out to shout out our partners at Alpha Clash, the indie comic book trading card game that turns every match into a lore-driven battle for glory. In the Alpha Clash universe, superpowered contenders collide in a fast-paced game that perfectly blends fun and competition. Build your deck, unleash devastating abilities, and outmaneuver your opponent in a game that's as much about brains as it is about bold moves. The artwork will pull you in, the gameplay will keep you coming back, and the growing global community awaits. Head to alphaclashtcg.com and start your journey today. That's alphaclashtcg.com. It's time to enter the clash.
That was awesome. Adam, I know that's not sign language, but it looked very good. My oldest sister,
she could see me. I know she's just reading it.
Teacher.
If she watched me, there's no way she could keep it straight.
Oftentimes, the
I
next
did
day,
go back and watch you one time.
Yeah.
I went and clicked and watched it. So, I'm gonna clip that next.
This was
the
total theater this week. Well done, Susan on the narration and Adam with the theatrics. Well done, guys. So as a tribute to both military veterans and savvy fantasy football owners, the title of today's show is That's a Veteran Move. Maybe it's a bit cheesy on the show title, I would admit, but let's spin our conversation towards fantasy football veterans. So what fantasy football veterans are on your buy list? And you can take this in whatever direction you feel you need to. Let's start with you, Susan. Who's on your buy list for veterans?
All right, I've got 2 for you tonight, a wide receiver and a running back. My wide receiver is Jacoby Myers. Oh. He just got traded to Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Hunter is now on the IR, so he is going to be gone at least 4 weeks.
Season ending. Myers is going. Season ending just came up. Season ending knee surgery. It just popped. He got season ending knee surgery.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Even better.
There we go. I missed that news today. Thank you. Breaking news. Travis Hunter is out for the rest of the season. So Jacoby Myers is going to be put in that spot. They clearly knew something was wrong when they made that trade. So last week when I said that there was something we didn't know, I think the team knew it. So he is going to become an integral part of that offense. The other veteran that I would trade for is Breece Hall. Garrett, I know that the Jets are not good, and that stinks. However, this is going to become the Breece Hall show. He is playing for a contract. they're not going to re-sign him because they're trying to get that number 1 pick.
Right.
He is going to
Yeah.
be off somewhere. So he is playing for a contract, and he is going to get the Justin Fields dump offs. Like Adam said earlier, that 47-yard pass was actually just a dump off that Brees Hall did something with. So the opportunity for him to take that run every week is there, and he is just going to get dump off after dump off, especially now that Garrett Wilson has re-injured himself and is I don't know if it was like they're considering putting him on IR, if it's week to week, but Garrett Wilson is going to be out for some time. This is
Again.
going to be the Brees Hall show. So go get him. And I think he's going to be cheaper than you would think because the Jets are just so bad
Yeah.
that people
Package
don't want
a
to be
deal.
rostering Jets.
Package a trade like we were talking about the last couple of weeks. Package a trade and see if you can pick up some of these guys. It makes a lot of sense. Everything you said, Susan. Adam, veterans on your buy list.
I got Brees Hall about a month ago. I traded Dynasty Justin Jefferson. I got Brees Hall and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Brees Hall still
What?
at that point. Yeah,
Wow.
Justin Jefferson. It was before. I mean, Justin Jefferson looked a lot better a month ago than he did now.
Yeah.
So it comes out like I think JSN's. He's one of my favorites. So I was like, oh wait, yes, please. I think there's a second round pick or something there, but nothing big. But a guy that I actually traded for was Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is not been, stellar bajillion yard Josh Jacobs. I don't even think. Let me look. I was double checking that. He doesn't have a 100-yard game yet. But even in the abysmal bowl known as Monday Night Football that I wasted my free 7-day FUBU trial on, he was really all that did anything. He had 21 for 74 and a touch, which is great considering that. But he's scoring touchdowns, and he has a touchdown every game but one. 3 multi-touchdown games, and he's still people. You either love Josh Jacobs or you're kind of iffy or don't like him. Like I've never been a giant Josh Jacobs fan, but I looked at a team and one guy threw him on the trade block, and I didn't need Josh Jacobs. This is like one of my super teams, but I had to trade away picks to get him, and I got Drake London too. But I had to get him so that the other guy who's closest to catching me doesn't get him. Like I let Josh Jacobs on my bench last week. That's how good this team is.
Wow.
But he is a guy to go out and buy because he's getting the chance. Even you'll see Wilson pop up there, and that might be in garbage time or something like that. But he's in the last month he's had 5 out of the last 6 weeks have been a running back 1. So a top 12 running back, a top 9 running back 4 out of the past 5 weeks. And so he's a guy worth grabbing. And the next one's almost like, apparently there's this thing that kids do called Hear Me Out. So this is Hear Me Out, Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is not good anymore. Mark Andrews is so cheap though, and he's getting end zone looks from Lamar Jackson. And their last schedule, and same reason for I'm gonna hit real quick. Their schedule for the rest of the year is I have too many screens, so I don't have it pulled up yet. But the schedule is so great that when they were 3 games under 500, they were the Vegas odds bet to win the division because they play all these terrible teams. So they're going to score touchdowns. I'll talk about the other guy in a second, but Mark Andrews is getting touchdowns. He's only getting like 3 receptions on 3 targets, but touchdowns are there, and that's how tight ends go. So if you're looking for a tight end, and he's cheap because everybody hates him anymore. And my homer pick is Tua for the reason I said earlier. Tua's not been great, but the Dolphins' schedule is so amazing that they don't really play but one hard team until after. And that'd be like the fantasy championships. If you get the fantasy championship with Tua, you're going to lose anyway. So you might as well say, hey, I'm going to play the Buccaneers with Tua in the championships. But the lead-in is so good that I'd be tempted to, on a 2-quarter, he's not going to be my QB1, but on a 2-quarterback league, throw it in there with the way it's going. And by that point, maybe they'll lose to the Buccaneers for sure, but they'll have to put up some yards. So yeah, that's my homer pick.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And if anybody is curious about Josh Jacobs' story, it is a very fascinating one. So if you go back a few years when he was getting drafted, there's a really heartwarming story behind how he got to the NFL. But on this question about veterans on my buy list, I spin this in a different way because this is the point in the season where I have either already or I am actively looking to see what am I going to need when I'm in the playoffs. And so I'm already looking that far ahead. I'm assuming I'm going to make the right moves between here and there to get me there, but I also don't want to fail once I get into the playoffs. And so I'm looking to see what is going to help me, who's got those sweet matchups in weeks 15, 16, and perhaps 17, depends on how late your playoffs go. But that's what I'm looking at right now. So nobody specific is ever on my radar when it comes that far out. It's really just a matter of who do I have, what are the matchups, and what is going to get me to the promised land on that front. So, all right. So let's also flip the script on the same type of question. So instead of who's on your buy list, give us somebody who you think is heavily rostered that you would rather not trust at this moment. And you're going to hit that sell button. Susan.
This one is hard for me because he had a great start to the season. He was ranking, he was getting double-digit fantasy points, but the last 2 weeks have just been so bad for DK Metcalf. I don't know what they're doing in Pittsburgh, but he's been getting single-digit targets. They played Cincinnati, which is in week 7, worst defense in the league, literally. And he had 5 targets. He only scored 8 fantasy points in the settings here. He had 3 receptions for 50 yards. Then it was 5 receptions for 55 yards. He got a touchdown, but if you didn't get that touchdown, you'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
Last week in Indianapolis, 2 receptions for 6 yards. Like this week, 3 receptions for 35 yards. 7 targets last week against the Chargers. But that start to sit decision is one that I do not want to be making with DK Metcalf. And unfortunately, I have to. I have him somewhere, and it is killing me the last 3 weeks. It is not good. The schedule is good up until the playoffs. Like he's playing decent fantasy, like he's playing decent defenses for fantasy, but it has just been not great. And so I would rather trade him away to get somebody who can be more consistent and that I just am not having to use the name value to get somebody that I can start knowing there will be at least some sort of floor.
Yeah, these are the observations we had as it came to the NFL trading deadline. We thought that Pittsburgh had to get a good receiver to complement what was going on there in Pittsburgh, and that would have done nothing but help DK Metcalf to have somebody else that's a viable threat. Now you can let DK be DK, and everybody wins, and they let it go. I thought for sure they were going to go out and get somebody that was going to help them. Yeah, I've got a share of DK Metcalf, and it is a weekly tear on the soul of do you play him or not? Because regardless of what the projections are, like you said, Susan, it's almost dependent upon a touchdown to make your day. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Adam.
But isn't that how DK's always been to a point? Like
even in Seattle, big, the last year or so felt like that.
Seattle, like he was better. He wasn't this terrible, but I've never I was more excited for DK this year than I've been in years, and because he wasn't.
Me too.
He had that one year where he was really, but otherwise it was like that. You'd be like, yes, DK is finally what he's supposed to be. Like AJ Brown and him, they're what he's supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, he got 6 yards. And like, oh, it was like him and Tyler Lockett would just take turns. It was just the intriguing one. Yeah,
I don't know how DK isn't just being absolutely fed the ball. There's no reason. He is such a good possession receiver, a great route runner, the whole bit. So for them to not utilize him that way,
and they paid him. They paid him.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they paid him to do nothing. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on.
Just blame
Aaron. I don't know. Is this Aaron deciding that he just didn't like him and so he's not targeting him?
No.
I mean,
that's it. It's Aaron Rodgers. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. All Aaron Rodgers. Always Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, we'll blame Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is not on the team of the person you'd like to sell, is he?
No, but I do think Aaron Rodgers is to be at blame for the YouTube problem too. So all right, now mine I actually wrote about, and it was hard because you look at it and you look at what's coming, but I'm still scared of him, and I love him. He was one of my top running backs for the year. That's Derrick Henry. It sounds kind of weird
Oh
to
yeah.
say, but Derrick Henry, I mean, the last 4 weeks, he's had at least 70 yards. So that's a good thing. The upcoming thing, he gets the Jets, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Bengals. And then the problem is he closed with New England and Green Bay. But something doesn't seem right on his side of the ball. And it could be Lamar was missing. Maybe that's going to help him get back. But when I wrote the article today, it really was about, can you upgrade Derrick Henry and not have this fear that you're going to get weak Derrick Henry versus the Browns, who went 11 for 23. Guess who he plays this week? The Browns. The Browns defense is not terrible. They're just tired.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett wants to murder people, and that's why he's so angry, because I have this weird feeling that they're going to be like, Dylan Gabriel is a jag. I love that term. Susan used the other week, just a guy. And they're going to be like, let's see what this other kid has, just to shut Dion up, because he keeps texting us every week, like, play my boy. And Shador's going to do something that's going to make them keep him and not draft a quarterback, and then he'll be terrible next year. And that'll cost them draft picks. But Derrick Henry scares me in that aspect, that he's not been consistent. I mean, dude is still averaging 4.8 a carry. But he's got weeks where he averaged 2.1, 2.2, 3.4. Those are not what you want. But he has these other weeks, like, I guess Miami, just murderous row. So he scares me, and I'm hoping, like I was going to lead this in by going, I hope it's a reverse jinx, because one of my better teams relies on Derrick Henry. So reverse jinx, reverse jinx, reverse jinx. But yeah, he does scare me a little bit as a veteran from what you expect.
And a lot of people took Derrick Henry either in the first round or high second round, thinking that they just got a steal. I was one of them. And I still think I did, but only because I was able to couple him with other people in the early rounds. But yeah, that's a toughie. I think part of it is because Lamar Jackson was gone for a few weeks in there, and now being behind in the division, I think there was a sense of urgency of, oh, we've got to win now. We've got to score a lot of points. How do you do that? Well, you get away from who you are, which is, let's throw the ball. And so you forget about the running game, who's going to keep you stabilized. And I think that's part of the problem that's happened in Baltimore. I'm hoping they'll figure it out. And when they realize they're in actually pretty good position with a great schedule ahead of them, they'll get back to that team identity of, let's run the ball smash mouth, But the people that I have on my sell list, they played last night. A.J. Brown, Jordan Love. A.J. Brown is one of those enigmas that you are not sure what you're going to get. It's like Tom Hanks. Life is a box of chocolates. You'll never know what you get, and that's what I feel like every single week, that when I bench him, I know he's just going to light it up, and he does. And then when I play him, he's going to disappoint me. And it's like, you know what? Let me get off this merry-go-round. Let me put in people that I know have stability to them. And so I've been playing Emeka Ibuka in my league, because I had somebody that was quality, that I knew had a good floor, had purpose, was a true bona fide receiver who wasn't going to let me down. But A.J. Brown, you've let me down this year. I'd like to keep you on my roster, but geez, you're going to be having some seats on the bench for a while, I think, until you prove otherwise. And the other is Jordan Love. I do not know what's going on in Green Bay with the talent that is around them up there, and getting the defensive upgrade with Micah Parsons earlier. This Packers team should have been a dominant force in that conference, let alone in their own division. And right now, I see them struggling. And I think last night's game, even though I couldn't see it, thank you very much, YouTube TV and Disney.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. It's like Jordan Love is one of those people that I have too many shares of, but I wish I didn't at this point, because I just don't know that I can rely on him getting me into the playoffs or deep in the playoffs at this point, because I don't know what they're doing up there, and it doesn't seem like they do either. So sell. AJ Brown, Jordan Love, love you, but no, I gotta find something better at this point in time. All right. So for our audiences, again, please post any shout outs you've got for anybody, friends, family, relatives, things like that, or even people that have passed away who were in the military. We definitely want to get a shout out to them later in our show.
Yourself or yourself.
Or yourself.
you're
Yeah,
watching.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's take a look at the waiver wire stuff here. Again, we have 2 more teams coming up on bye weeks. So that's going to be Indianapolis and New Orleans. Probably and hopefully not horribly impactful unless you're really truly relying on the key Colts players. But let's take a quick look at confirmed or potential injuries heading into week 11. And there are a lot that keep coming up on the same list week in, week out. So I'm only going to highlight some of the ones that I think are probably going to be potentially more impactful. Dart, quarterback from the Giants. He had a concussion, or we thought he had a concussion a couple weeks ago. This one, looks like a little bit more significant based upon him getting a knee to the head and then crashing down to the ground the way he did. Good-looking rookie. Hope he is okay. Geno Smith, another quarterback, or learn how to exactly, and that's sometimes a lesson that quarterbacks have a hard time doing, is learning when to not take the hit, when to take a fall or take a slide. But also you've got the veteran quarterbacks who also don't know when to not play either. And that would be Geno Smith. I don't know if you guys saw the Thursday night game. He was hobbling badly to the point where he was just not effective. It's like, look, why are you even in the game? Why does the coach even allow you to play in the game? You guys had a chance to win that game. And I believe if they put in Kenny Pickett, they probably would have, because Kenny Pickett's got an arm as opposed to somebody like Geno Smith, who was immobile. And when he tried to get mobile, he had no arm to throw anywhere. It was just sad to see him hobbling around, almost to the sense of, boy, if I don't get back in the game, I'm going to lose my starting job kind of mentality. And that was horrible. But if you also want another quarterback to throw out on that injury watch list, I would say that would be Joe Burrow from Cincinnati. They are opening up that 21-day window, and they're looking at potentially week 13 for Joe Cool to get back in the saddle. That's going to be interesting. They've also said with Burrow that it might also depend on how Cincinnati is, whether they've got a shot at the playoffs, depends on how soon or if or what have you is when they bring him back on that timetable. But I also believe that Cincinnati is probably better with him than without him. Godspeed returning there. We've been talking about Irving from Tampa Bay, the running back. This one just does not give me warm, fuzzy feeling that we just don't get very much information, and he hasn't made any significant progress from what we've heard. And so we don't really have a good timetable on that. But I did see that the 2 running backs from New England were on the radar. Stevenson was listed as questionable. Earlier in the week, Henderson was too, but Henderson was listed as a limited participant. On Monday's official injury report, they think it's because of a knee injury, maybe precautionary, but Henderson really lit it up. So if you're looking to play Henderson and you've got him this week, just keep watching that board to see how significant is this going to be or not. Do your own due diligence on that front. Pacheco from Kansas City, maybe he'll be coming back here shortly. Dobbins from Denver. And again, Dobbins versus Harvey. If you got a share of one of those two or both, keep a watch for it. And
I saw one headline that said Dobbins could end up on IR. He hasn't yet, but they're considering it. So just really keep an eye on that Dobbins.
RJ Harvey will be my backfield.
Yeah, that's the key. For anybody at home, you've got to really listen to what those injury reports are, because if somebody goes down, especially at this juncture of the season, hopefully you've got a decent waiver wire pickup number, because some of these players you're not going to get a second chance at. So you've got to be really watching on those days that you turn in your waiver wire picks. So on the receiver front, really the only new bit of news was Garrett Wilson, of course, re-injuring the knee. Yes, I had him. I was hopeful he was going to have a great splash for the weekend, and he did splash, and it was not good splash. So Garrett Wilson, not good news there, as we talked about before. So With the bye weeks and injuries that we've already talked about, time to truly look at the waiver wire, or as I will call it this week, my last gasp at a hope for the playoffs. And as your situation at home may be different, it may also dictate who or if you should even pick up some of the players that may or may not be available in your league. Again, due diligence is always the key word on that front. So, Adam, let's start with you. Who would be a hot waiver wire pickup or somebody that you're looking at?
I'm looking at Sean Tucker. Waiver wires are so deep at this point that Sean Tucker out of Tampa seems to have been taken over. Like Rashad White's not that great. I don't think Rashad White is a great running back. He's always been a good pass catcher. But if Tampa's going to do anything, Bucky Irving's not going to be there. Sean Tucker led them per se for 53 yards last week, and he's got touchdowns in 2 of the last 4 weeks. So if you're in dire straits, and he's on waivers, that's where he seems to be. There's about, I think 53% was it the number I think I saw in Sleep or something like that. Was I'll double check that, but he's I'd grab him off of waivers.
Very good, Susan.
All
who's
right,
on your radar?
So if you feel like you are not gonna pick somebody up, if you're like, I don't really need anybody, go see if Alec Pierce is on your waiver wire. He's 53% rostered.
Tell everybody.
He had 13 targets in week 9 against Pittsburgh, 6 receptions, 7 targets, and 4 receptions against Atlanta. But his depth of target since week 6, and I talked about him last week, 24, 19 and a half, 35, basically 19 and 21. Last week he got a touchdown. He's going into the Colts are going into the bye week. So if you can pick him up when people don't need him, grab him. Even if you don't need to play him, don't let other people get him. I mean, he's scoring, getting super involved. He's going to be integral to that offense moving forward. But again, he's going into the bye week. So the person I really want to talk about is Amari DiMercato of the Cardinals. He's clearly emerged. He's also 53% rostered, but I'm sorry. He's 38% rostered, but if you need a starting running back, he is somebody that you can pick up and play. They play San Francisco this week and then Jacksonville. So for the next couple weeks, you have somebody to start. He's a rental. If you're a fab person, don't drop all your fab on him because Benson at some point is going to be coming back. But he is a running back that if you absolutely need somebody to pick up and start, he's a guy that you can do it with.
Yeah, I love that. You're right about all that stuff. Person on my radar, and Adam, props to you. You called it. Tez Johnson, the wide receiver out of Tampa. Adam called it out last week saying this guy should be on your radar. And, I've got heavy receivers in a lot of my leagues, but the ones that do not, it's like Tez Johnson is available in a lot of leagues out there. He is very low rostered at this point in time. And with the issues that Tampa has been having at that position with Evans, with Godwin still injured, and the fact is Baker is going to bake. He is going to throw the ball. Evidence of it, Tez Johnson, 2 touchdowns this past weekend when most people didn't even have him on the roster or were playing him. Kudos to those who did and were smart enough and wise enough to do that. But, props to you, Adam. You called it last week, right on target. Tez lit up the board. He's definitely going to be on my radar. I will be checking to see if I've got a spot for him. And then who would I sacrifice if I really need him badly? But yeah, I would agree. Adam, who else do you got?
And Tez does a monster backflip too. I love seeing that when he scores.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
I was wrong. Tucker is 10% rostered, so there's a pretty good chance of getting Parker Washington out of Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr. either is injured or he just sucks. One of those two things is going on, or both. I don't know. We just saw that
he sucks because he's injured.
It could be. I hope so. I love that guy. He's so good. And we saw that Hunter's out for the year, and all Parker Washington's done is gotten 10, 9, and 7 targets. I mean, last week he only got 3 of the 7, so we do have to fight with the Trevor Lawrence problem. But he's he's getting the targets. He's getting the targets coming into Chargers will be a little catchy, but then you have the Cardinals, the Titans coming up. Colts will be challenged, the Jets, and then Denver. So he's got a couple plus matchups at this point. If you're picking him up, hopefully you don't got to start him every single week, but he's getting the volume, and that's what you're looking for in a receiver. So 56% rostered, and why not?
Love it. Susan, anybody else to throw out for us?
Yeah. Cincinnati's coming back from being on their bye. Go pick up Joe Flacco if you need a quarterback. He is 53% roster, so available in about half of leagues, and he is slinging it. I mean, he is making since week 6, 45 pass attempts, 47 pass attempts. Versus the Jets was a little lower, 34, but 47 pass attempts. That now they're on their bye week. So Pittsburgh this coming week, and then New England. So those next 2 weeks could be a little. I don't know. What is Pittsburgh? Is Pittsburgh a good defense? I don't know, but I don't know that they know. So I'm willing to take the risk and start Joe Flacco against them. New England will be a little more difficult. Their defense is very good, but definitely I think Flacco is pick up and startable.
Garbage time touchdown.
If you remember, Flacco has already played against Aaron Rodgers already this year. And you guys know what happened in that game. Flacco just lit up the scoreboard. So again,
43.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. That's all he did. Yeah, good stuff there, guys. Absolutely. The one thing I do like about the waiver wire and the bye week stuff is a point you made earlier, and also mentioned with the Flacco as well, is that when there are bye weeks coming up, look to see who's not playing, because they're off everybody's radar at that point in time. Go out there, figure out who's on a bye week. That's a freebie, So there you go. All right. Does that conclude our business here, or do we have something else we'd like to talk about before we get to little Jimmy?
So I have an Instagram question. The platform's so silly. Like, you guys can't see the Instagram question that is on the feed for me. So somebody has a Supermat74 has JCM and is wondering if JCM is droppable. Woody Marks and DeMarcado are both available on their waiver wire. Personally, I would pick up Woody Marks. They're playing Tennessee this week. Tennessee is one of, if not the worst run defense in the league right now. You can run all over them. So yes, JCM is totally droppable. Pick up Woody Marks.
I had to figure out who JCM was for a second. I had to process.
Oh, sorry, Bill.
Brother.
Bill.
Wild Bill.
I was like, Bill. Yeah.
You know what's going to happen, though? Now Wild Bill's just going to go off because he said, get rid of him. He's benchable. You can dump him. Yeah. Wild Bill is a good story.
No, don't drop Bo Nix.
Oh,
they also
Bo
asked
Nix,
the question. They should drop Bo Nix.
No.
Don't drop him.
I mean, your situation might be unique in your
starting
league
him can be questionable. It says it's Bo Nix or Goff.
But I would say look a few weeks down the season and see where that matchup is going to be favorable to keep him on your roster. But I think Bo Nix has got way too much upside for that. Okay.
Sharon's got a bye week question: Flacco or Darnold? Who would you pick up for Jones's bye week? Flacco, right?
I would. Here's the thing: Flacco, we know, is going to sling it, and he's got the great team around him. Darnold was an interesting pickup for some last week because they had a good matchup.
Play Flacco.
But because Seattle's defense scored a ton of points for them, they didn't need Darnold.
Lawrence has 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was like,
I know.
well, I guess we don't need you to sling the ball like you usually do, Darnold. Take the week off a little bit, and so he did statistically. But yeah, I'd go Flacco in that situation.
I'd go Flacco just because of who they're playing. The Rams defense is pretty good.
Yeah. Again, a quick shout out to the chat rooms around our platforms. If you've got any military shout outs, feel free to throw those into the chat. All right, let's get to little Jimmy. We've got a segment on our show called Start and Sit. We've got a little Jimmy coin that we flip. Props to Tank Talk podcast for the inspiration of it. And sometimes you might just have a couple players you can't figure out who to play. So to save you the pressure, we encourage you to use our start and sit coins featuring our character called Little Jimmy. Flip them, whatever he lands on, do that with the player. If it goes well, congratulations. If it doesn't go well, it's not your fault. Little Jimmy did it. So the worst thing is to do is not flip Little Jimmy at all. But if you've been watching our shows, Little Jimmy has had some interesting streaks here. And when I went back to our statistics, Little Jimmy got it right every single time we went with a receiver. So he knows receivers almost as well as Adam does. But Little Jimmy got it wrong with a running back and 2 quarterbacks. So we went back to a receiver again. So this week we're going to go with Jordan Addison, the receiver from Minnesota. He missed the early part of the season. He had 4 games where he beat the expectations. Now he's getting a lot of targets, but is starting to slow down a little bit on productivity. For the season, he's been 6 games in, 392 for receiving yards, 26 catches on 45 targets, and he's got a couple touchdowns. This week, Minnesota is at home against Chicago. If you're looking at standard scoring, you're looking at about 10 points, give or take. That would translate to a touchdown and 40 yards. So it feels like if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's going to have to put up 100 yards. Maybe doable, maybe not. But let's see what little Jimmy thinks about Jordan Addison this week.
Start.
Interesting. Okay, Susan, do you think little Jimmy's got it back in the track with a receiver this time or not?
I don't think so. I don't know that I'm starting Jordan Addison because Jordan Addison has a JJ McCarthy problem.
Ooh.
McCarthy just he can't support 2 receivers. I mean,
he can't support one.
There we go.
I mean, yeah, he can't support 1, let alone 2. And so it's hard to start Addison when you're questioning starting Justin Jefferson. I mean, you start Justin Jefferson because he's Justin Jefferson, but it doesn't feel good in your soul every time you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't start Addison. I can't start Addison. So sorry, little Jimmy, I am disagreeing.
Adam, are you on the bandwagon?
I would say start at no. Justin Jefferson stinking it up, and if literally a top 3 to 5 receiver in the NFL can't be carried by a starting quarterback in the NFL, the second guy on his team is not going to be carried either. I mean, he's had a couple weeks where he's had a couple 100-yard weeks, but Carson Wentz, he had 35 yards last week. And yeah, Chicago's this week, they either play really good defense or really bad defense. So if it's really bad defense, maybe, but that's where, no.
I would agree. I think there is a JJ McCarthy issue up there. I really do hope that they figure this out because there's so much talent up there. And I definitely want them to beat Chicago. Duh. But little Jimmy, I don't know, man. You're saying start him. I'm hoping you know something that we don't, because I think I'd have to agree with my partners in crime here that I'm hoping I've got better options that I don't have to start or would not choose to start Jordan Addison, even though they're at home. So, all right, there we are there. So, okay. Let's take a look in the chat rooms and see if we've got some people who want us to do some shout outs for them for Veterans Day.
Yeah, one. Thanks.
That's my dad.
Well, we appreciate his service as well. Thank you, Peter, so much for what you've done. The thing that I've always told my youngest one is make us proud, but make yourself proud. And that's what my son does too. So that's awesome. So I appreciate your service, Peter.
So now he has a name. He's no longer my dad.
Yeah.
Anybody we miss, this is a day that It's funny. I'm watching my buddies in my group chat going, okay, where are you going to lunch today? Okay, I got to get to Mission. I'm going to miss this. It's like
Yes,
Christmas
yes.
for veterans. They're trying to figure out where all they're
Dad
going
went
to
to Outback.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very good.
Like,
I have
everybody
another
makes every
Instagram
meal.
question.
Sure, go for it.
Are we ready to shout out some other Instagram questions? Okay,
Why
so
not?
Matt wants to know what's wrong with AJ Brown. We kind of talked about him earlier, but he's wondering where does he have in your rankings? And Adam, like where is he in your rankings? And can he drop any of Diggs, Debo, AJ Brown, or Franklin to pick somebody up off the waiver wire?
I gotta look. I haven't went deep into my rankings yet this week. That's on my to-do
So,
list.
would those drops be in lieu of, or is that a separate question?
So
of the
he's
AJ
trying to
Brown?
drop one of those guys.
Like, are any of those
Were they
guys
picking up?
droppable to pick up?
I mean, the Fantasy Pros has AJ Brown like wide receiver 14. I just can't trust that, especially versus Detroit. So
trust
once
him.
I get my rankings, and he's probably either a high end 3, low end 2. So we're looking like 24 is probably where he'll end up. Like, because I can't put him like Rome. Fantasy Pros has Rome bet worse than AJ Brown. I don't see that happening. Devonta Smith, I think, is better than AJ Brown currently.
I think he is the number one alpha now. I think he
Yeah.
is. I think that's kind of disgruntled AJ a bit.
I would agree.
Jordan Addison, no.
No,
It's close.
Diggs is the one I think popped up on the list of the players that potentially droppable. I mean, if he didn't have that touchdown this past weekend, boy, what has he been doing lately? Because it's either hit or miss. You know, he's almost like giving you heartburn, just like AJ Brown does. You know, if I can find something that's more stable, I might be choosing that. One of my games, I didn't have the choice, but I had to play Diggs, and it paid off. But I've been looking for somebody.
The schedule is getting better for them. For Diggs, they're playing the Jets next week, and then Cincy, and then the Giants.
But how many mouths are you feeding up?
Scoring at least, and he's had a touchdown every week for the last 3 weeks. Touchdowns are hard because you never know, but
take those away, and he had, very.
I still wouldn't. I wouldn't drop him. You'd have to have some really good waiver. Did Matt say any guys on the waiver that he's going to drop? Like those 3 guys are holds. Franklin scares me just because of Nick's inconsistency. As much as I love him, of those 3, but when you're playing with who should be the league MVP, and you're playing the Jets, Bengals, Giants, Ravens, and Jets, you got the Bills sandwiched in there the first week of the playoffs. I want anybody on that team because they're going to score some points.
Give me the Diggs when he was on Buffalo. I mean, he was scary. Anytime I had to play against Diggs when he was played up in Buffalo, I was like, okay, I don't even watch the game because everything was going to Diggs. But now he's not so scary. Just not getting the same. Something different with Diggs now. He's just.
I want Diggs against Buffalo.
Well, yeah, right. He literally
26 yards and 2 touchdowns. Here's
the Denver question for you, Adam, because I know you're very big on the Broncos. Do you feel that Franklin's now turning into the number 1 instead of Cortland Sutton, though? Because Franklin's getting a lot more touches now, it feels.
He is. I don't think there really is I don't feel like, as Susan was saying earlier about the teams, like they feel the offense is sort of like running in mud. There's no consistency. And I mean, Franklin's getting the targets, so he should. That's where, that's the stat. I mean, we're looking since week 7, 10, 8, 10, 9. Those are your targets. I mean,
huge.
But he's also had 3 of 10 catches,
So here's an update. It says Marvin Harrison and the Carolina receiver McMillan are on the top of the waiver wire.
What?
So are you dropping any of Diggs, Debo, AJ Brown, or Franklin for Harrison or Tet?
So it's probably an 18 league. Like, honestly, all jokes aside, if Tet and Harrison are on the waivers, right?
Something's going on.
Yeah.
They should
all
not
teams
be
have that same problem. Tet's intriguing, but you have a Bryce Young problem. Harrison, Brissett did exactly. I don't know if it was here or on the other show. I said Brissett's going to fall on his face, and he fumbled twice.
Yep.
He gave Lawrence 2 touchdowns. But
And Jennings, Shakir, and Williams, which I assume is
Jameson.
Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
So
that means everybody has really good receivers, and it's.
It is an 8 team.
Yes, even though Franklin's getting the targets, but he has 19, 89, 27, and 40 yards. I mean, he's got 4 touchdowns over that time. So the yardage is right there. So that's the challenge. Diggs. I mean, if you really want, Diggs would be tempting to dump for maybe Tet, but
and Jennings.
It's all the wrong choice. Just could be the wrong choice.
Jennings has been getting a lot more looks lately. Jennings is starting to look like he's a bit more in favor now, and Mac Jones, who's been doing well for San Fran, is starting to throw his way a lot more too. So Jennings has been finding his way to my starting lineups.
That's really hard.
I'd say no, because I don't think it doesn't.
You know
it
what?
doesn't help make your team better. And that way, if you're like, hey, I got this team, I'm making lateral moves. If you make the wrong lateral move, you feel ridiculous, as opposed to making the right, if Tet ends up being better than Diggs, you're not as dug as if you drop Diggs and then he goes bonkers with these next couple of plays.
Yeah, I would say also look at strength of schedule going forward, because it's likely not to be a 1 week plug and play is what you're looking for. Look to see if there is something else within the next 2-3 weeks to see if there's a tiebreaker vote. And if not, flip little Jimmy, because he seems to be right on receiver so far. So,
and finally, the thing I will say on what we said on our podcast is, because it's so lateral, who do you want to root for? If you're like, dude, I am a big Tet McMillan fan, cool, play him over Diggs. Like, it comes down to that. It's that close that there's, if I've had a choice between a Jet and a Dolphin and they're equal, I'm taking the Dolphin because I don't want to root for the Jets. That's part of it too.
It is part of the theme that we talked about before that Susan had mentioned, is that you need to have fun doing this stuff. And so if part of it comes down to rooting for a team because you like the player, that's part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last thing I would say is, if I was going to pick somebody to drop, if you were going to force me to pick one, it would probably be Debo, just because Daniels is injured and their schedule, they play Miami, which is 8th ranked, bad for wide receivers. They're on a bye week, and then they play Denver. So which has a really, so you're looking at 3 weeks where he's either not usable or playing a really good defense. So if I was going to pick one to drop, maybe I would drop him as, someone else will pick him up, try to play him, and then he doesn't perform as well.
And you also have to think, anytime if you're looking at an offensive player, it's a matter of opportunity. We talked about this recurring theme all season. If your team cannot sustain drives, i.e., you don't have that great of a running game, i.e., you have a lot of injuries in the receiver corps, then how many sustainable drives do you think you're going to be getting that makes your receiver the one to pick up or keep? I agree with the argument. Debo might be the odd man out in that situation if it's forced to make
breaking news. Asante Samuel Jr. signed with the Steelers. Maybe they have some help coming. He just had he was a top 25 free agent in the spring and recovered from an injury. Is he back? Who knows? But it could help the Steelers secondary in a ho-hum defense. There we go.
Interesting. Thanks for the breaking news.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Well,
you have to do your homework. Homework.
Absolutely. As always, great conversation, great dialogue between us and the people in the chat room. Thank you guys for contributing so much, as you guys always do. I think that's it for this show this week. Thanks everybody for being here. If you like what you've seen or heard and you got value out of the show, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share the show with everybody you know. And as always, I had lots of fun tonight with my partners in crime. Susan, where can we find you?
I am on Instagram and TikTok, and my DMs are open. If you've got questions, come find me. Happy to help.
Sweet.
Adam, where can
I'll
people
spell it out
find
for
you?
You can find me anywhere you listen to podcasts. Look for the Fantasy Couriers. All the links are also on thefantasycouriers.com as well as my rankings. And you can see I just contribute 2 things to the Fantasy Pros articles. I'll see who make mad on X if they post me again, which if you get posted on it, I think it's Fantasy Pros just trying to get you trolled is what I've noticed. So, hey, it's kind of the only bad publicity is no publicity, right? So, okay, Cameron, let's roll out.
Yeah, and I'm here helping support Shelter Dogs for Veterans. Somebody asked me a couple days back, it seems like you have a lot of fun on that show. And I absolutely do. I genuinely have a lot of fun on this show. I hope everybody at home and my co-hosts as well do. But as Corey closes out each week, be excellent to each other, be kind, and until next time, keep moving forward. See ya. Take care now. Bye now.